This is episode 643, and today we're going to be going over and perhaps even reviewing overcoming challenges checklist. I love checklists because they help us keep our thoughts organized and help us accomplish what we want to do. And so I know I've covered challenges in previous podcasts, but there's a couple of new nuances to this one. And you think about it. Are you struggling with issues that keep you from achieving your goals, whether they're your own limiting beliefs, or is there something actually preventing you from achieving your goals? And you can really just get past these challenges and get back on course with some of the techniques that I'm going to go over. And a lot of this, you could say, stems from the fact that our perception of the challenge is maybe holding us back. If we don't have technical knowledge, then we can learn the technical knowledge. But this checklist is going to help reframe your mindset and reframe your perspective on what the challenge truly is. So the first thing is you need to evaluate the challenge. Is this something that is you're physically unable to do, such as, do a PR on your squat or your deadlift? Or is this a challenge that is more mentally holding you back? Like, I don't have the knowledge to run a software. I don't have the knowledge to apply for a job. So we want to evaluate that challenge for its authenticity, for what it really, really is. And then when we approach it, we want to expect the best outcome. If we go into something like, I'll give it a try, but it's not going to work, well, we're going to put in the effort so it won't work, or put in the lack of effort so it doesn't work. So we want to, evaluate the challenge. What is it? Is it, a mental challenge? Like, is it based on a limiting belief, education, knowledge, or is it a physical challenge where you actually can't finish a 10K because of, well, you can always finish because you can walk it. But let's just say, you want to finish a 10K in a certain amount of time, which would be a physical challenge. So we want to, take a look at the challenge and then expect the best outcome from us, so we will put in the best effort to it. And believe in yourself. Go back in time, do a time machine and go back in time and find all the things that you accomplished, which maybe you didn't think you could. And although a lot of people don't believe in their childhood successes, when we were kids, we weren't taught all this positive thinking and self-talk, et cetera, et cetera. We just got on our bike and rode. We fell off, we got on it again. We roller skated, we fell, we got on it again. We just kept going and going and going because we believed in ourselves at a subconscious level. If we didn't believe we could do it, we would stop. But driving a car, riding a bicycle, walking, all of these things are proof that we believe in ourselves, and we kept going till we accomplished what we wanted to. So now that we're adults, we want to use positive, encouraging self-talk. Like, I think I can, I think I can, I know I can, I know I can, I did it, right? The little train that could. Encouraging self-talk is focusing on what we want, such as, I hope I don't mess up, is not encouraging self-talk. Is this challenge can be resolved quickly and easily, right? So we want to use encouraging self-talk, not the avoidance of the fear that is holding us back. And when we can use positive self-talk, affirmations, positive storytelling, any of those things, we will then start to act in accordance with that story that we are creating. So in the same hand, we want to remove negative thoughts. And what's funny is when we start focusing on the best outcome and encourage and using self-talk, we actually don't have to remove negative thoughts because they're not there in the first place. However, when they do creep up, if they do creep up, what I mean by removing negative thoughts is focusing on what you want to replace them with. Because if we focus on removing them, we are focusing on the negative thought itself. And when we focus on what we want, that negative thought goes away. So the remove here is more in quotes as opposed to replacing the negative thoughts with what we want. Look for the silver lining. Every challenge, whether we are successful or not, has a silver lining, has a learning in it, has something that we can embrace and move forward to similar challenges. Even if we don't get the result we want, there is always the learning in it. And the biggest learning is that we took action, right? If we constantly focus on the result that we didn't make it or we barely make it or we fell short, we're missing the biggest benefit of all of it, and that is taking action. When you take action, this is why most people don't reach their goals and overcome challenges, because they just don't take action. But if you take action, and even if you don't succeed, but you look at the biggest learning is that I took action, that can help you significantly with future challenges. Avoid wasting time worrying and focus on a solution. That is, there are people who are problem focused and people who are solution focused. When you focus on solutions, the problem automatically goes away. When we focus on the problem, like why is this happening? Why is this happening? All we do is get reasons why the problem is there. When we focus on the solution automatically takes care of the problem. So as opposed to why is this happening, how can I get a different result? How can I be fit and healthy? How can I read more? How can I, as opposed to why don't I read more? That's the problem. The solution is how can I read more? So we want to focus on the solution, and then our unconscious mind will get to work and we will come up with those wonderful solutions to overcome the challenge. And then, again, I said it before earlier, but remind yourself of previous challenges you overcome. And there are many. And here's what's interesting is most people, when they overcome a challenge and it comes easy to them, they discount that it was a challenge. But it comes easy to them because you have built up that mental strength to move through those specific challenges. There are many people in the world that if they faced the same challenge you did last week, last year, would crumble. But you went through it, so make sure you acknowledge the challenges that you went through. Avoid the degree of difficulty of the challenge. Just, was it a challenge? Did you have to dig in? Did you have to use perseverance? Did you have to use mental strength? Did you work with a coach? Did you work with somebody else? Go back to all those previous challenges that you overcame and acknowledge what you did and look at your, quote, success formula for overcoming those challenges. Ask friends and family how they overcame similar challenges. This is great. In NLP, we call it mirroring, in effect, role models, right? Somebody is facing a similar challenge. You can get them. You don't have to do it the same way, but listening to how other people overcame a challenge can get your creative mind working, can get your unconscious mind working. It's kind of stepping out of the box, if you will, because we create the solution with the same problem that thought it, which can't happen all the time, right? Einstein said you can't create the solution with the same thinking that created the problem, and that's what we do. So by going to friends and family, asking them how they overcame their challenge, we now have new information that we could model and utilize in our own problems. Use readily available resources to research your obstacles. So again, on Google or AI, how to overcome, etc. And there will be a list of things that you can do. There's so many great websites out there. They all might not be exact, but if you can just take one nugget from any one article, including this podcast, and apply it, you'll start to overcome challenges. And when you meet another one that may not be so easy, you do the same thing. Either work with a coach, do research, do something, and then keep learning and learning. The more the more you come up with creative ways of overcoming your challenges and obstacles, the more you're going to be able to overcome bigger challenges and obstacles. So it's a wonderful benefit. And that is one of the silver linings, right? Is when you overcome something, you now have the strength to overcome it again, and you can then up your game. Find a mentor and study their methods of getting past challenges. Same thing as friends and family, but you may want to go to like a Brendon Burchard or a Tony Robbins or even a great president or anybody in history. It doesn't have to be history, but find a mentor, right? And when you study their methods, you may not be able to talk to them, but you can read articles about them. You can read biographies. You can watch documentaries and find out, hey, what are their beliefs right now? How do they take action? What do they do? How do they structure their day? And this is something that can be extremely, extremely powerful. Decide a plan of action and write it down. Great. So you have all these resources available. You have these mentors. You have these friends, self-talk, etc. So you go, here's what I want to do. Here's where I am now. Here's where I want to go, point A to point B. Here's the steps I'm going to take, and here's the resources I'm going to use. The GROW formula comes in really handy for that. What's the goal, right? Where do you want to go? The R, what's the current reality? So that identifies the gap. The R also is what resources do you have? What resources do you need? That would be asking friends, deciding an action plan, etc. And then you come up with what obstacles may I encounter during this quest to go from point A to point B. And then you come up with the action plan is who, what, where, when, why. Who's going to do it? Why are they going to do it? When are they going to do it? How are they going to do it? This all falls on you. But that's the GROW formula, and that can help considerably when you start to create an action plan to overcome a challenge. So then it's up to you to hold yourself accountable and responsible and follow through with each step of your plan. This is where coaching can come in extremely helpful, extremely handy, is that you and your coach agree to an action plan. You have a check-in call. You don't do it. The coach asks, what is it going to take for you to complete this task? You get rid of all your excuses. Then you hold yourself accountable, and boom, you start getting each step done one at a time. Really powerful. If your plan doesn't work, adjust it and try again, right? Correct and continue. And this would be also with a time frame. If you have a challenge and you want to overcome it by a certain time frame and you don't hit that time frame, extend the time frame a bit and look at how far you came and just repeat that. But if the plan doesn't work, like airplanes, right? They're off track, 70% of the time, but they're off track by only 1 degree, but they go off track, they come back. They correct and continue. Because when you get feedback from taking action, you know if the action you're taking is correct or not, and then you can adjust it. So taking action gives you feedback, then you correct and continue. Learn from the positive and negative aspects of overcoming each challenge. What worked, what didn't, what can be improved. This is, when you get done with reaching your challenge, you may want to just ask yourself those 3 questions. What worked, what didn't, and what could be improved? And with that, you'll come up with a game plan for the next challenge. Apply what you've learned to others, right? Go after these challenges. You may want to, if it's a significantly emotional challenge, you may want to take a break for a little bit, but otherwise, think of other challenges. Keep pushing yourself and using these tools that you came up with. And each challenge will be a little bit more difficult, but when you accomplish it, you'll be growing mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. You'll be getting stronger so that you'll be able to accomplish more and more and more. So just keep in mind that you and only you are responsible for overcoming challenges. It's up to you. We cannot depend, and I want to say depend on others, but we want to be responsible and accountable for overcoming our own challenges. If we need help with it, whether it's physical help or educational help and the person we ask help for isn't responding, we then go someplace else. We don't sit there and say, well, they didn't respond to me, so I couldn't get it done. No, you're responsible for overcoming them, and you're responsible for being resourceful in getting as much help and resources and education and learning to overcome that challenge. And act. So when you face a challenge, act as if you wanted this challenge in your life. If it's something that is the quote life throws up in your way, unquote, then act as if, hey, I wanted this challenge. What could be the purpose of this challenge? And look at it as a blessing in a sense that you wanted this challenge to happen, and see how you attack that with that state of mind. And without challenges, there is no growth, right? We have to have challenges to grow. Even if we don't succeed at the challenge, we still grow because we're taking action in the attempt to overcome that challenge. So challenges are great. This checklist can help you tremendously, and just hold yourself responsible and accountable. If you want to see the show notes on this podcast, you can visit warriormindcoach.com. There you can find the podcast itself, the show notes, blog post, other information, as well as how to contact me for a breakthrough session. Since you'll be on the internet, please follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest under Warrior Mind Coach.